So this conversation about microtransactions in Dragon's Dogma 2, I personally have not bought the game or played the game. A lot of people that bought it say they love it, but I did see the long microtransaction list, and one of them was fast travel, right? So Dragon's Dogma 1 had an issue with fast travel, and instead of fixing it in the second game like I thought they would, they made it a microtransaction. Whatever you guys think about that, it's whatever you guys think about it. But here is the debate / conversation with Asmongold, and I don't know. FightinCowboy.
That Fighting Cowboy guy. I think you might want to call and talk on stream. So I saw that you were unhappy about what I said on my video. How do you feel about it?
So the point you made was that I was mentioning the micros.
Yeah.
When I said you can, or I don't know, I have to go back and look. But basically I said with the microtransactions,
yeah,
you can acknowledge they're shitty. You can still play the game. And that's not endorsing them. And you said that is endorsing them.
I did.
You're endorsing any game if you play it, regardless if you buy microtransactions or not. Especially if you're a streamer, you're 100% endorsing the game if you stream it.
So
well, maybe not endorsing it, but you are advertising it.
Point is, if
you could buy and stream a game and talk about how bad it is, sure, but I mean, you're still playing the game in front of other people.
This is where you brought up the dichotomy. This is where the discussion came in, because ultimately, from what I've gotten out of people, it sounds like we're in the same camp here.
We're on the same side.
We both don't like micros.
Yeah.
We both don't want micros in games. But you have people that are putting that into two groups, where it's okay to buy micros sometimes, but not micros other times.
You
and
disagree?
Then piling hate on creators that are playing Dragon's Dogma because micros exist, but those same people are okay with engaging in micros in other games.
Yeah.
They're called hypocrites.
And the point is, in my opinion, regardless of if it's even a free-to-play game, any purchase of micros will show devs that micros are okay.
That's true.
And perpetuate the idea
That's
that
true.
Micros, in one way or another, people will buy, because it's just piecemealing content. So even in a free-to-play game, which, it's free-to-play, I get it, but devs will look at that and say, well, hey, in this game, people were willing to spend $4.99 on a new outfit. I wonder if we can get away with that in our game.
Sure.
And so it's, I guess calling them a necessary evil probably wasn't the best way to describe it, but the point is more that...
Well, it's a free-to-play game. How it's going to make
it? Advertisements all over the place, which I haven't seen yet, but let's see. Street Fighter V has advertisements. Every single loading screen, there's an advertisement for a new skin or something. I don't know if they still have it in Street Fighter 6. I believe they do. I haven't played Street Fighter 6 in a long time, but I know it's very prominent in 5. So Capcom, and this is a Capcom game, right? Dragon's Dogma is, I don't know if it's produced by Capcom, but Capcom is involved in this franchise, right? So I'm amazed there's no advertisements in this game. Every time you walk into a city, I'm surprised there's no like Street Fighter 6 sign just scribbled somewhere.
Yeah.
That would definitely break the world building. But what's worse, 99 cents for fast travel, or every time you load into a zone, there's an advertisement for a different game that just pops up on the screen for like 5 seconds. Y'all let me know.
And the point is more that we are at a point in gaming where micros aren't going away, obviously.
No.
I think we can agree there.
No, they might get worse. They might get worse.
Just acknowledge the fact that they exist
and
they're shitty and not engage with them versus just calling out people for playing games that have micros and throwing around vitriol.
If there's people that are calling you out because you decided to buy a game that has microtransactions, regardless of how bad they are, honestly, you should just ignore it or tell them, hey, you're being a hypocrite. Because if I'm playing a game, even though I don't buy microtransactions, that does support the developers, right? Especially if you stream it, that advertises the game. There's a lot of people in Call of Duty running around with TTV in their clan tag. So if you're a person that went after FightinCowboy and you play any game that came out this year or last year, you're probably also playing games that have microtransactions, because microtransactions are in every single game now. I can't name one game that isn't made by an indie developer that doesn't have microtransactions.
because they exist in one form versus another.
Who did that?
I mean, I guess your fans.
I'm sure they did.
Okay. I mean, let's keep it real. How many subscribers is Asmongold has 2.46 million subscribers. Do 2.46 million people like Asmongold that click the subscribe button? I don't think so. I absolutely do not think so. Is every person in this chat the same person that clicked the subscribe button? I don't think so. Look, I'm not even subscribed to Asmongold. I just watch the content, right? So, I mean, you could assume it's his fans, or you could say this is someone that watches Asmongold, which 2.46 million said that they will watch Asmongold, and 41,000 people saw this video in an hour. 41,370 now that it updated, right? So, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm sure your fans message me negative stuff too.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure
it's not like I told them to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no, and I've made it clear. This isn't me against you. The reason I called you out in particular is because
I got the hands up. Not me.
I guess the focus of attention.
Not me.
In that reaction, and the whole reason I made the reaction to begin with is because a lot of other people are now getting shit, and then in your most recent reaction, that's where more misinformation came from. Because I made it clear that I received that brief from Capcom, but I've talked to other people, especially those in the EU, who didn't get that brief.
Yeah, Rurikon told me that too.
Context.
I personally don't care, and no, I didn't talk about it in my review. And yes, people knew about this in the review.
Wait, hold on. There's a shit ton of microtransactions I'm looking at. I need a full video. What is more? I need some more context.
Personally don't care. And no, I didn't talk about it in my review. And yes, people knew about this in the review. In the review email, there's a thing that says paid DLC. You download the paid DLC guide, and what it does is it shows you this in
paid DLC guide. Damn.
Advance. So like people were aware this shit was coming.
Yeah, I had no idea that they showed people that.
So naturally, when FightinCowboy said everybody knew about the microtransactions.
No.
Everybody instantly believed them because he's
no, negative. Because I didn't even know microtransactions were in the game until the game came out, right? I wasn't even, like I said, I haven't purchased the game. I'm not really interested in the game. But even though I'm not interested, like I played the first one, right? I enjoyed the first one. Doesn't mean I'm going to spend $70 for the new one, right? So I'll just wait for everybody else to play it to talk about it, which is exactly what's going on now. Now I know there's microtransactions in it. Now I know everybody is up in arms about it. And now there's a conversation being had, and here I am on the outside looking in instead of being inside of it, which I think is way better because I get to see everybody else throw shit at each other, and I'm just watching.
Earn that trust. But the reality is, not everybody knew. I didn't know.
A couple days ago, creator FightinCowboy spread information around about how he and other creators, so he thought, knew about...
FightinCowboy. Oh, okay, I get the bigger picture, right? So FightinCowboy got early access to the game, right? I've gotten early access to games too. When they give you early access, they do send you an email, and they talk about what you can and cannot talk about during the review, or can and cannot show during your review, right? So maybe he got a piece that said something about DLC, and he assumed everybody else that got an early copy also got the same thing. Now, I don't know what other people's contracts said. Whenever I received, because I've gotten early games before, you know, they never really talked about DLC personally. And if anything, they just give me the best version of the game, so I get the DLC automatically. So I never paid for it. So honestly, I have no idea how bad or how good the microtransactions are, and I don't know if that goes into the DLC, right? Is there? I'm pretty sure there's an Ultimate Edition, right? There has to be. Every game has an Ultimate Edition, right? They have the $70 version, and then they have the $100 version, and then they have like the $110 or $120 version, the Founders Collection or some shit, right? I don't know. I think FightinCowboy, he just made a mistake, a slip of the tongue, honestly. Which, you know, you got to be careful, right? Because now everybody's upset about microtransactions. And here you are with an early copy and a review talking about, yeah, I got it, so everybody else got it. Now, everybody else I got a review, unknowingly, they just got targeted. Because FightinCowboy said that you knew about this. Why didn't you say it in your review? Why'd you give the game such a positive review and you didn't talk about the DLC, right? And let's keep it 100. Let's keep it real. In the gaming industry, let's keep it real, let's keep it 100, let's keep it transparent. Some people are paid for reviews. Other people get a review copy. Some people feel that whenever they get a review copy, they must skew the score a little bit higher because it's in their best interest to do so. Now, is that good or bad? That is absolutely bad, and I will tell you why it's bad. If someone gets a free copy of a product and they purposely inflate the score so more people will buy it, then obviously that's bad. And even if they don't inflate the score so other people buy it, even if in the video you talk about this is bad, 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 and everybody's like, damn, he hates this game. And then 9 out of 10, well, a lot of people are not going to really sit through the review. They might skip through it and they might just go to the end score. End score, 9 out of 10, I must buy it. So even if you put little warnings here and there in the video, not everybody's going to see it. Not everybody's going to watch your video all the way through. So definitely we need to tighten that up in the gaming industry. I don't think it will get tightened up because, you know, humans are humans and we're flawed and stuff like that. And companies don't like it when people shit on their games. But a lot of games come out and they're really bad. So obviously people are going to talk about how bad they are. And if you talk about how bad the game is, the next game that comes out, you're not going to get a review copy or an early copy. Now, if you're a YouTuber, you know, your career kind of depends on you getting upload first, right? If you upload the game first, all the views come to you first. So even if someone better uploads 2-3 days later, you already got a bunch of views. So it doesn't even matter. Yeah, it's very shady. It's very, very, very shady, but it is what it is until it ain't.
The microtransactions before the review embargo had lifted. That tweet, however, has since been deleted. We actually released a video on Friday that you may have seen as a response to this, stating how we and not all press and content creators received this information, but the damage has already been done. With huge content creators like Asmongold already reacting and spreading that information around. To be clear, creators like Asmongold are just doing their job and we don't blame them at all, but again, the damage has been done. That impression has already gone out.
But then that's just going to further the bullshit because...
Whose fault is that? Because you got early access to the game, Cowboy. You knew about the DLC. Did he talk about it in his review? I haven't seen his review, by the way. I have no idea, right? So I would say if he did not talk about the microtransactions and how many that there is, and he didn't show it, right? That's a big thing, saying, yeah, there's a lot of microtransactions in the game versus showing the screenshot that I've just seen like 3 or 4 times that has a big ass long list and it says money on it that you might spend. Well, it's a little bit just disingenuous, right? Just a little bit, right? Because you got early access to the game. Why didn't you really talk about it? You know, I'm not going to sit here and say maybe he's, you know, a bad person. I don't know the guy, right? So this is up to y'all to say your piece and your opinions in the comment section below about what you think the situation is. From me watching, I see FightinCowboy made a mistake. Maybe he was a bit disingenuous. The game came out for everybody, so obviously people are going to pick apart everything because they have nothing to gain / actually they have everything to gain and maybe a little bit to lose if they make a video talking about how bad it is. Or look at this microtransaction list, or look at this, look at that, right? So Asmongold found it, talked about it. Asmongold already makes a lot of money, so I doubt he did it for money. It's like, yo, look at this is crazy, right? Because that's fun. That's part of the fun of it. It's like, yo, look at this is crazy. Look at this shit, right? So to get mad at him for shedding light on it, I think if you're getting upset because someone shed light on something that, you know, 9 out of 10 people say is negative and you didn't really talk about it, well, then maybe you might be the problem, bro. And it sucks people are coming at you, but you gotta, it's a hard balance, man. It's a hard balance because you either make the publisher happy so the next game you get for free and you can make more money and get more views, or, you know, you say fuck it and you say, hey, guys, I like the game, but look at this. I don't like this and this ain't good. And he said I saw a little bit of the video earlier. He said ignore it. Let me know what you guys think, man.
You know, if like I have people coming to me, why didn't you call them out? I've addressed that. But, you know, you have people shitting on ACG, you have people shitting on Rurikhan, you have people shitting on Sphere Hunter, you have people shitting on the Eric's team. Mm-hmm. And that is ultimately where my problem boiled down to, is because now people that may not have been aware of it or just didn't notice it are catching flack because of something I said. And I don't know.
Well, then that's a personal problem, buddy. That's a personal problem. You should have let people know. You shouldn't have said what you said. It was a mistake, though. It's okay to make mistakes. And like, yeah, does it suck other people are getting shit on? Yes. So I guess this is why you are on Asmongold stream, to address it, which is good. I'd like to hear some, hey, it was my fault, don't go after other people. I'd love to hear him say that.
Like things that I said.
And you feel responsible for it because of the way that we titled it and the way that my editor had something said in the video?
Yes.
I think that's understandable.
It feels like something I've said is now bringing flack to other people.
Sure.
Okay.
And I'll have to see what actually was said in the video. I haven't seen it
because I haven't seen it either.
And so if certain people didn't get it and other people did, and we said that everybody did it, then I think that's inaccurate, and you're totally right to be upset about that. You're completely right.
So if this is a case of the editor taking something out of context, Asmon, you need to talk to your editor about how he cuts stuff up and puts stuff together.
I don't think that every single person even has an obligation to announce that they have microtransactions or not. It's totally okay. So, like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with you not covering it in your video either, because it's not something that you hold value in.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. He doesn't hold value in it, but he's the reviewer. He gets the early access. He gets the early copy, right? He doesn't have to spend anything for the game if he got it for free. Versus the guy who's busting his ass at Amazon. He spends $70 on the game. He's enjoying the game. He loves the game very much, except there's this small issue where he wants to fast travel, but instead he has to walk across the game environment. And it's easy for you to say, oh, that's part of the game, just enjoy the environment. Sure, if you're not working your ass off at Amazon, if you have the luxury to sit and play the game and enjoy the atmosphere. Some people want to go in, kill stuff, get the loot, go to town, sell the loot, go back to killing stuff. They don't want to adventure. They don't want to explore. They don't want no Breath of the Wild like experience. And for you to sit and expect every gamer to want that same experience as you do, I think you need to take your hat off and just like smell the roses, as they say, smell the roses, and realize not everybody is in the position to actually enjoy the game the same way you enjoy the game. Some people enjoy the game for cosmetics. Some people enjoy the game because of gameplay. Some people enjoy the game because of story, right? Everybody enjoys the game differently. And as a reviewer, I feel like you should at least touch upon every single point that someone might have some type of interest in, even if it's for just a brief moment. Like if you talk about the gameplay for 10 minutes in your review and you talk about story for 5 minutes, in that 5-minute segment, you should say, this is what I think about the story. I don't really enjoy it, but the gameplay is so amazing. That doesn't mean you go back and talk about gameplay. That means you go ahead and just start talking about something else. Microtransactions if you want. Like if the microtransactions are so prevalent, there's a big ass list. Like maybe you should touch upon it or just show it, be like, yeah, there's microtransactions in the game. Here's the screenshot of all the microtransactions. Let me guys know what you think in the comments below. Boom, there it is, done. You don't even have to add your opinion on it.
I do think, however, that playing a game and not buying the microtransactions is still indirectly supporting it.
Of course.
Do you disagree on that?
You're just supporting the game.
So I think,
and if the game has microtransactions, then yeah.
This came down from my use of the word ignore. Because in my context, I'm saying, ignore them as in, they are there. Don't support them. Just ignore them. Don't spend money on them. And I think people are taking that context of ignore as, shun your eyes away and pretend they're not there. I think having a conversation around micros is encouraged because they're not going anywhere. And I think it's perfectly normal for people to express how shitty they are and stay vocal about how shitty they are so that the bar doesn't continue to get pushed. But I don't think it makes sense that, if we're all on the same team against micros, for people to shit on someone playing on a game that has the micros, but then also, I guess it just comes down to the context and nuance of everyone's against micros, but instead it's turning into this tribalism of you're not against micros as much as I'm against micros, and therefore you're bad.
Yeah. Okay, and I think that's super dumb. Super dumb. Because microtransactions, like I said earlier, are in pretty much like if it's not in 99% of games, it's in 100% of games. because it's been around for like a decade now. Microtransactions have been around for a very, very long time. And we've seen the success and the failure that it brings to series and industries, right? But to investors, the money outweighs all the cons. Even if we have to lose the series, the franchise, investors don't really care about that, right? So obviously, publishers, developers, whoever, even if they don't want to put it in, they're incentivized to put it in or they lose money. Does it screw the customer over? Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's an actual good DLC, right? Sometimes it's actually increasing the value of the game. Sometimes it's $9 for blue. Like, you want your gun to be a different color, $9, boom, you got blue. Like Angry Joe used to say.
I think there's always going to be a line, and this is what happens on the internet, right? Is like everybody has a different line of like what they think is acceptable. There's some people that wail in Genshin Impact, and other people that won't even buy a game that has any microtransactions. The problem isn't that anybody draws the line anywhere; it's that people expect other people to take the same line.
Exactly.
So yeah, and so
not everybody's going to stand on the same
play the game, and they're okay with it. It's fine. I do think though, if you play a game, and even if you're not buying the microtransactions in the game, if you are spending money and buying that game, or playing it just by being a participant in it, you are creating and feeding into the ecosystem that allows those microtransactions to exist. It's like,
let's keep it 100. Even if you pirate the game, even if you stole the game, even if the game fell off the back of the truck and you got a free copy and you're playing it, as soon as you stream it, as soon as you make a video on it, and as soon as you talk about it with a friend, you are endorsing the game. You are supporting the game. Even if you stole the game for free, you never buy a single microtransaction. As soon as someone says, "Did you play Dragon's Dogma 2?" and you say, "Yeah, I love it," or "I like it," or "I enjoy it," you are supporting the game. You are supporting microtransactions, whether you realize it or not, because that's in the game. You got it for free. They didn't. Your buddy that you just said you enjoyed the game, they're like, "Oh, if you like it, well, then I'm gonna buy it." Word of mouth. That's how it works. That's how Helldivers 2 got so damn popular. It didn't get popular because the game is amazing. It got popular because everybody said how good the game was. Like, come on, guys.
Like, whales need plankton to eat. And so even if you're one of the plankton, the free-to-play players, you're still part of that.
You're part of the ecosystem. Yeah, 100%.
Agree.
Okay.
You can't disagree
so
with
yeah,
that.
I mean, I don't really support anybody else that's harassing or doing anything like that. Of course not, right? I mean, I don't think anybody would. But I think it's okay to acknowledge the fact that, you are supporting something that has microtransactions. You just don't think it's that big of a deal. And I wish that more people would be more.
Yo, what happened to the driver? Yo, hold on. Yo, the bird got his ass. What the hell? That a harpy? Bro, I cannot bear it. Bah, we gotta get that.
Would be more honest.
Yo, go save him.
No, and that's to your point. I think the word, like, yes, we're in the same thing.
And me getting excited over what I just saw also endorses the game, even though I haven't bought the game. Because I'm like, damn, look at that. That looks crazy. That looks crazy. That looks fun, right? Me getting excited over the gameplay, even though we're having a interesting conversation about microtransactions, that unknowingly supported the game, because even if you didn't buy the game, looking at this gameplay, right, me watching this gameplay made me want to buy the game a little bit. Like, damn, they took out the carriage driver. That's crazy, right? Maybe I'll get the game. I ain't gonna lie, I'm probably gonna buy the game whenever it's on sale, right? Sale. Even buying it on sale, of course, that helps, right? But I ain't spending $70 on no motherfucking game.
You're playing the game. The game has micros. Yeah, we're indirectly supporting the existence of micros.
True.
And I think the specific language you used was endorsing.
Supporting, endorsing, I'm using them synonymously. If you want to use,
okay.
I would say both of them are pretty much the same. Endorsing seems more of a public statement. Supporting seems more private. You can.
Well, I think that's what happened, because saying endorsing, then people started showing up. Despite the fact when this whole shit show started, one of the first things I did was go on Twitter.
Yeah, we got to remember words do have meaning, even if you want to say that they're synonyms of each other. There's a little bit of a difference, right? So. True, on Cowboy's point.
It's like, hey, I've beaten this game. You don't need to buy any of this shit. I didn't buy any of this shit. Don't buy any of this shit. Instead, that never happened. That portion of the context was completely lost, and the new discussion was,
But you are
Cowboy
endorsing
thinks,
it, though, right?
I'm playing the game.
Okay.
But
if you're playing the game and you're a public figure and you enjoy the game and you said yourself you beat the game, right? Isn't it like, what, 60 or 70% of gamers don't finish games? And this game, from what I saw on that map, looks big as hell. So for you to sit here with 1 million subscribers and say that you beat the game, even though you didn't touch microtransactions, is an endorsement of how good the game is, brother.
Suggesting
But you're
people
streaming
don't
the
buy
game,
the
too.
micros. I'm streaming the game.
Bro,
If
that
somebody
is...
paid you money to stream a game, what would you be doing?
Hang on a second. Let me pause. So,
got him.
repeat that.
If somebody paid you
Got
money
him.
to stream a game, you would be.
Bro, bro said I had to pause it. I had to pause it real quick. Yeah, you had to. Yeah, you know what happens whenever you're doing this, right? Whenever you're doing something other than participating in the conversation wholeheartedly or paying attention 100%, you're only using one part of your brain. The part that's like, oh, autopilot. As soon as someone says something that makes you have to think, you have to pause the game automatically. When you have to pause the game, that means you have to think about what you're gonna say. So whatever the fuck this guy's about to say, he means it wholeheartedly. He means it. He paused the game. He said he thought about it. He's gonna mean what the fuck he's about to say. So let's hear about what Cowboy got to say.
Paid you money to stream a game, you would be endorsing the game.
Correct.
Okay.
And so there it is. You're clearly endorsing it. And that's not a bad thing. You're not wrong for doing this, but you are endorsing it. I am endorsing it too. We all are.
We're all
My
here.
only point was that I didn't want people to live in a fantasy reality. I think that people
Well, we're
constantly try to
endorsing-
remove themselves.
But this is where the discrepancy is. Like,
Okay. What's the
so yes, we are
discrepancy?
both playing the game
Yes.
right now. We're both. I mean, I'm having fun with it. I'd assume you're having fun
I
with
love
it.
it.
If you're
It's
playing
great. 30 hours.
It is. But we can.
That is that's literally an endorsement by two people that have millions of supporters. So in a combination of 3 million people just heard you, in theory, 3 million people just heard you heard you say how great the game is. Remember, it's okay. It is okay to endorse the game. But let's not act like we're not. Let's not act like we're not, Cowboy. Let's not act like we're not. Random person in the chat, Alex Canada 2020.
support the game and also be vocal about the fact that the microtransactions are shit and that we do not endorse microtransactions. And that's where the disconnect is here.
Brother, when you endorse a game, you're most likely endorsing all of it, right? You're most likely endorsing all, even, bro, that's like if Joe Biden walked up on the stage and he said, yeah, we support Ukraine, but we don't support them fighting against Russia. What does that even mean? Absolutely nothing. If you endorse something, you're supporting it all the way, whether you like it or not. Whenever we go up here on stage and we're like, yeah, I love, I love Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber's new album is amazing. Even though I haven't heard it, right? Justin Bieber's new album is so great. It's one of the greatest things ever. You're endorsing his music, sure, but you're also endorsing you know what I'm trying to say. You're supporting the guy. You're supporting the person behind the art, right? We say we support the art and not the artist, but at the same time, kind of are. Whether we like it or not. Whether we say, yeah, I love R. Kelly's music. I don't like that he peed on people or did what he did to young people. It's like, yeah, you don't support it, but you bought the music, which lets him keep this lifestyle of him doing what he does. That is the part of life that we don't like to acknowledge or accept. That whenever we support somebody or something, there is something negative that we are also supporting, which is true. It is true. Just say it. Bro, you're talking about microtransactions. What about your fucking cell phone, brother? How many people died to make this shit? A lot. But we still buy the new one that comes out. We still buy the new game that comes out. We talk about how good the new game that came out is. But you like to ignore the fact that there's microtransactions. Just accept the fact that there's microtransactions and you don't like it, and that's okay. But you are still supporting it. You are still supporting it, brother, whether you like it or not. It's the cold truth and it's the harsh truth, but it's the truth, baby.
I understand that, but I remember whenever I was watching your video that you released last night, you said that there were two camps of people, and it's the people that are okay with it and the people that aren't. And I didn't like how you created a dichotomy.
You literally were like, bro, you were talking about tribalism and then you created two camps. Little did you know, there's one big camp around all of us, bro. Everybody, every time someone's like, there's that camp and there's this camp, brother, we're all in one big ass camp. It's called the camp of fucking humanity. Regardless of this person likes this for this and this person likes this for that. Y'all both like the same shit. Y'all don't like this, y'all don't like that, but it's part of the same shit. It's all part of the same thing.
As in, like, it was almost as if you couldn't play the game and talk about and criticize the game and like talk about how bad microtransactions are if you're playing the game. Like, do you see kind of what my perspective is?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I absolutely get what you're saying. My point is that dichotomy is what I feel is being pushed out by people that are now discussing the game, because I'm very much in the camp.
But you're also doing it right now when you're talking about I'm in this camp. You're still doing it. You're still doing it, brother, and you don't realize it.
That I'm going to play the game and say the microtransactions are pointless and you shouldn't engage with them while still engaging with the game. I had an incredibly positive review of the game. I have, at this point, about 120 hours into it.
Why are you smelling a Sharpie, Asmon?
I love the game. I think the game is great. I think the performance is obviously,
it sucks.
Terrible,
and
that needs to get patched up.
Exactly.
I called that out in my review as the biggest point. I said, this is a fantastic game, but we can't ignore the fact that I'm getting 30 FPS on a 4090, and that is extremely poor.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
But
I mean,
I don't
that
think-
was bad. Like, the no new game was bad. Like, there's a lot of stuff that was bad about the game. It doesn't make the game bad. It's just, like, basically, in, like, my mind, there's, like, two different types of a review. There's, like, gameplay and playability. And, like, playability is everything that allows you to enjoy the gameplay, and gameplay is everything that's happening in the game. So, like, you have, like, new saves is playability, microtransactions playability, performance is playability. And
That move was cool as shit that he just, what in the Sonic the Hedgehog spin dash was that?
new saves.
Did you see this shit?
playability,
Bro turned into a
microtransactions.
whole hedgehog, bro. He hit him with the homing attack.
Performance
What
is
the hell is
playability.
that? That looks cool
I
as
think
shit. I kind of want to buy the game. I ain't spending $70.
Like a lot of people, like, and we're the same, I think, with this, is that, like, we agree that the playability functions in Dragon's Dogma are garbage and dog shit, and the actual gameplay is great. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, because I'm a gameplay-centric person. That's, if I have one save, I don't care. I'll play the game. I'll wipe.
Exactly. You have one save. You're gameplay centric. Some people aren't. So you should definitely talk about that. Like, yeah, you're an Asmongold or you're two peas in a pod. What about the people that aren't in your pod? What about people that like having multiple characters? Not because of the game or the gameplay, because they like having multiple characters for the RPG element, right? We have a vast open world. Some people don't just sprint around all over. Like, I'm watching your gameplay, bro. You're sprinting all over the place. Some people legitimately will sit and walk around and like look at the trees and get on the carriage and not fast travel and just relax and make multiple characters to role play and do the same thing all over again. Other people like to speed run, right? Those are the hardcore gamers. Those are guys who know everything. So if they only have one save slot after they beat the game, right? They can't really practice strats. They can't practice strategies on a specific area in the game to try and make it as fast as possible. They can't sit and find glitches because there's only one save slot, right? So there's multiple points of view in this discussion, and you're not really tackling them.
Get my save if I want to start over for some reason.
You think
Yeah,
that?
no, I mean,
wait. So if you're 30 hours into the game and you want to try something else, you're okay with deleting that character and starting over. Why are you lying? Why? It doesn't even make any sense. You spent 30 hours of your life that you will never get back on this one character in this one game. And instead of making another one, you'd rather just delete that 30 hours. Granted, you're not going to get those 30 hours of your life back that you spent on this game fighting Cowboy. So when you eventually die, it's like, Was the 30 hours worth it? Was it worth deleting the character? I mean, by then, you're probably thinking about more than that. Like, maybe I should have spent more time with my family or some shit, right? Brother, time is essential. Time is something we all have. And we are tick, tick, tick running out of it. Don't sit here and say you want only one saved character, because you're fucking lying, bro. Ain't no way.
I think that like a lot of people kind of blew this out of proportion. I don't really think it's that big of a deal at all in general. I talk about it. It's obviously bad. I do think that there's a huge difference between microtransactions in a finished product game that's being sold as a package versus a live service game, just based off of the nature of like how you would monetize something like that. Like,
I mean, it's the same as, there's a difference between an extraneous skin in Monster Hunter Rise that you don't fucking need. It's a skin that goes on your character versus an actual weapon in Monster Hunter Rise that's going to increase how much damage you do that you can't get without paying.
It's a spectrum. It really is. It
is a spectrum.
Yeah,
and the whole point behind the dichotomy though is that people aren't recognizing that spectrum. I think pretty much everybody is in the first camp, where the idea is microtransactions exist. You decide, what your level of tolerance is for those microtransactions and whether or not you're going to ignore the game. Mm-hmm. But you have people that are also going, no, if you're playing it, you love the micros and you're lying about loving the micros, and therefore you're shilling for micros, despite the fact that they're essentially in the same camp. It's this like weird.
It's okay to ignore the microtransactions, man. It's okay to say that you don't use them. But the whole issue that everybody, I think, is what everybody's trying to say is you're supporting the game, you're endorsing the game, and it has microtransactions in it. And it's like, these people are also hypocrites because they're most likely participating in games that have microtransactions, especially if they're coming from Asmongold's viewer base, because he got popular off World of Warcraft. Last time I checked, World of Warcraft has been taking money from people for a decade now? So, I mean, these people are definitely hypocrites. They definitely can't complain about it. Well, they can. They shouldn't.
Like, the people that are upset are essentially of the same opinion that we are, yet they're attacking that opinion because of a difference in where the line is drawn in the same. And that was the point I was making with the dichotomy there.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand that. And I think a lot of people are obviously trying to do that. And I think that what happens is that there's a lot of gamers that think that by creating an incredibly hostile and toxic atmosphere for talking about transactions, they will like bully streamers and bully content creators into not talking about it. Like, you remember like a Hogwarts Legacy thing? I feel like this is very similar to that in terms of like the mindset that people have going.
Yeah, that's not even a thing. The more people talk about it, the more you try and silence somebody, the louder somebody else will get. So, perfect example for Hogwarts Legacy. Y'all remember Pika-Me, right? Pika-Me was getting bullied. Pika-Me got sad. Pika-Me got quiet. Who popped the fuck up? Pippa Pipkin. And now she's one of the biggest Vtuber bunnies out here on the internet. Right? So just because you silence one person doesn't mean you silence everybody.
Going into it, and it's obviously bad.
You can kill a guy, but you can't kill an idea.
Push people into thinking something or doing something, you're always going to lose because people just don't like being told what to do, right? Whether it's buying microtransactions or not buying microtransactions, people like to just make their own decisions on things. So I agree with you on that. I think that's true. To me, I hope that after all this happens, like, it would be great if the gaming community could collectively just not support games that have microtransactions. And I do think that even by...
I mean, you say that, but you're also playing Dragon's Dogma. You're also playing... whatever the fuck else comes out, because games come out, but all games have some type of microtransaction.
Playing them at all, you are supporting them, but you are supporting them in a way that I think everybody supports things. And that was like kind of my point, is that by participating in systems and in games and in other things in life that have negative outcomes and negative like side effects or direct effects, you are in some degree supporting that thing.
Of course.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you should be responsible for what that thing is doing.
That's true. That is also true. Like I said earlier about R. Kelly. Yeah, you support his music. Does that necessarily mean you support him peeing on people and doing what he does? No. But you are, by you supporting him, you're keeping him in the ability to have that lifestyle because you're giving him money.
Go ahead.
On that note, real fast, there was a point about supporting Twitch while I don't disagree with their policies or something.
Yeah.
I have people that keep coming in about that, so just to clear that up while I have you.
Sure.
The only reason I stopped streaming on Twitch is because I started streaming on YouTube, and Twitch did not allow dual streaming at the time while you were a partner.
And now
I left Twitch. Yeah, I left Twitch. I abandoned my partnership. I streamed on YouTube. Twitch has rescinded that policy, so I might as well dual stream. Because it's just leaving a free platform on the table that I now can access because of policy change.
Sure. Yeah, and I understand that. I think that's... I think the point that I was making, and really I think the point that you're making is that, like,
if that's the case, then you're just endorsing the game to more people. We're still talking about that conversation about endorsement and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, you're leaving a platform. That means you're leaving money on the table. But then you'd also be increasing the amount of people that will come after people because of the whole backlash shit.
I would have to go back and rewatch your video like word for word to make sure that I fully understand this. But whenever you were creating that distinction, it was very clear to me that you were implying that if you're consuming something, don't complain about it, basically. And
I hope he didn't say that shit.
my point of bringing up Twitch is showing that I think everybody complains about things that they are consuming.
Of course.
And I don't even need to use
If I eat a pizza and it doesn't taste good, yeah, I'm going to say it doesn't taste good.
Twitch as an example because you actually have the same viewpoint on the exact thing that we're talking about than I do. Because you disagree with the microtransactions. I do too. I think they're bad. And we're both talking about it. We both love the game, but we both hate this part of the game, which I think is totally fair to say and totally fair to think.
No, yeah, and like I said, the whole point of the distinction was more the people turning it tribal. It's like you can't. It feels weird to see people say you're playing the game. If you're playing the game, you're perpetuating the micros. You are the problem with the gaming industry because you're playing this game.
Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it real. The gaming industry has a problem within itself about itself. The way that developers pick and choose who they want to give reviews to, the developers that don't allow review copies because they know their game is bad, the game developers that release the game and it's a buggy mess, Cyberpunk 2077, and now the game is fixed, right? Why didn't you release the game when it was ready, right? Ride to Hell Retribution. Why did that game come out and that game wasn't ready? Rainbow Six Siege. Why did that come out and the servers were fucked up for a little bit? You could keep going on and on and on, right? The gaming industry has always had an issue ever since we've had the ability to update games, right? Back in the day, I get it. Back in the day, right? Back in the day, Shigeru Miyamoto said, once you release a game, there it is. There was no updates back in the day. There was no back in PS2. You released Tony Hawk Underground 2. That's what the fuck you got. You didn't get no Extreme Edition until months or even years later, talking about here's some bugs we fixed. Right? Back in the day, we didn't even know they did that. You just here's Tony Hawk 2, and then here's Tony Hawk 3. So 3 must be better than 2. 3, from what I hear, is better than 2, but I don't know. I've never played 3.
But then those people would also engage with other products that have micros. And it's there's different levels of micros, but like I said, any micro that's purchased is just further going to show devs, well, if people are willing to pay for piecemeal content here, how far can we take it?
Of course.
And so the whole point behind the dichotomy was to basically drive home, if you're going to, you shouldn't complain that one person is engaging with micros in a different way that you're engaging with micros. If we're all engaging with micros and we all hate micros, we're all on the same anti-micro team here. It shouldn't turn into...
Well, no, I think we should have that conversation and we should discuss it. Should we attack each other for it? Absolutely not. Because if we're all quiet about it, then we're all complicit in it. And then when it eventually gets worse, is the result still be quiet about it? No, obviously not. Y'all remember Mass Effect 3? Mass Effect 3's original ending was shit. It was just different colors of the same type of ending with a different voiceover. And everybody was so upset about it that they changed it. What would happen if everybody hated it, but we never said anything about it? It wouldn't get fixed. Right? As a consumer, it is in your best interest to complain about a product if the product is not up to your standards. Granted, your standards might not be the same as this guy's standards, but you have standards nonetheless. Your opinion matters nonetheless because you are a consumer of the product. If I got a grilled fish and I ate it and I'm like, it's okay, and Gordon Ramsay got the same exact fish, and he'd be like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. I think it's okay. I think it could taste a little bit better. Maybe you couldn't have charred it. Maybe you could have, maybe put some salt on there or something, make it taste a little bit different. I can't articulate why I don't have a specific interest in this fish. But Gordon Ramsay can. Does that mean Gordon Ramsay's opinion on the fish is better? Not better. Is his opinion on the fish more important than mine? Well, you would say yes, because that's Gordon Ramsay. I would say if two people are complaining about the same thing, then yeah, you should listen to the person that can articulate it better. But that doesn't mean the person that can't articulate it, it doesn't mean that their opinion is invalid. It's just that they can't express their opinion in the same way that this person can. should all complain about stuff if we don't like it. And that's basically what I'm saying.
To something tribalist because someone engages with micros on a different level than you. And at least when I first saw your response, my perception of it was that you were in the camp of like, don't engage with micros. Micros are bad. Yet you had previous.
Maybe I shouldn't say complain. Maybe I should say the word critique, right? Because complain, critique is better. We should all critique stuff that we don't like. That's better than complain.
Engage with micros from World of Warcraft.
Many
Because all I know about you is that you're a Warcraft guy.
Oh yeah, I've bought things on the store with Warcraft, very few and far between. I was protesting, by the way, the Warcraft store in 2012. Okay, like I hated that shit then. I still hate it. I think it's garbage, and it's like I even have a picture, a sheet of paper pinned on my wall. Why store mounts are bad? Okay, so like yeah, I totally fucking hate it there too. And I also never really bought one. So, but like at the same time,
Really?
I am supporting it by still playing the game because I'm creating an ecosystem where other people buy them and they feel good because they're able to show off the things that they bought in the in the game. But I think that really, like, you're right. I mean, there's definitely like there's a spectrum of it. I think there's like people that are playing, free to play games with cosmetics. I think, for example, like having cosmetics and then having pay to win and then having, I do find it to be particularly egregious whenever you have a game that's not receiving like live support that has microtransactions. I do think that should be a line that more people draw, and I find it unfortunate that they don't. And it sucks because like really like Dragon's Dogma 2 is a great game. I don't want to not play it. And I think a lot of other people don't want to not play it.
I don't want to not play
really
it.
Suck that you're buying a game, but you don't even have the full capacity of what you're buying.
Bro, this game is spin the win. What is this shit?
I just think that's horrible. So like it's fair for people to call that
Look
out.
at this
But I would say
health bar.
that every single person that says that Dragon's Dogma is like dog shit for doing that, or Capcom's wrong for doing that, I don't think any of them are celebrating Genshin Impact's monetization. They're not.
Genshin caught a stray in that video.
Well, I'm just using, but that's like one of the worst examples, though, right? I'm just using like as an example of like the really bad like microtransaction stuff. I also think that they dislike that as well. Yeah. I'm not sure if there's a double standard as much.
Well, and my one of the big things with the micros isn't necessarily the existence, and I think this is where more of the defense is getting misconstrued.
Yeah.
It falls into the misinformation, because I think if we're gonna complain about micros, let's complain about what they actually are. Stop putting useless shit in the game. None of this was necessary. You didn't need this in the game.
True.
It was probably a fucking suit at Capcom that shoved it in.
Yes.
But instead, we have people that are saying, I mean, I've seen people say that the microtransactions are required to make your character. People are saying you need to pay micros to get additional save slots. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's not furthering the conversation at all either. In fact, I think that's detracting from it, because now we're not even focused on what I think is the biggest problem, which is the performance, but we're also creating.
I cannot be the only one sitting here saying that is one of the most brain dead takes that I've ever fucking heard. People have issues with save slots. That is important. People have issues with skins. That's important to them. It's not important to me. For you to sit here and say, "Oh well, this is that distracts from the conversation," buddy, it's the same conversation. It's about microtransactions, but you want to talk about the performance of the game. I can sit here and say, "You're talking about the performance. Who cares? We're talking about microtransactions." How does that make you feel?
We're not even focused on what I think is the biggest problem, which is the performance, but we're also
that's the biggest problem.
Falsehoods about the micros that's then turning them into something they weren't to begin with.
Some people are. Some people are talking about, hey, I need to spend microtransactions for their character. Maybe they do. Maybe they want something specific. Maybe they want to cosplay in the game, right? Whatever. That's a different conversation. That is a conversation in the same realm of microtransaction, and that's a different path you have to go down to figure out whether they're saying it's true or not. Because from your perspective, you don't even care about that. You don't care about save slots. All you care about is running the game at 60 FPS on your 4090, right? That is a different branch of conversation, because I don't give a fuck about your 4090. I have a fucking PS5. Everybody that bought the game on console don't give a fuck about your 4090, cowboy. You care about your 4090. You care about your frame rate. You care about performance. Does your opinion matter more than everybody else's? Does my opinion matter more than everybody else's? Does their opinion matter than all of ours? It's the same conversation, buddy. It's the same conversation. It's just different paths on the conversation. And if anything, I feel like everybody should be talking about what they don't like about Dragon's Dogma 2. Put it in a congruent fucking, what's it called? A PDF, and then send it to them so they can fix each problem that each person has with the game. You know what that would do? Create a better product for everybody. Not just you and your frame rate, not just for that person with their save stuff, not for this person with their cosmetics, not for this person that wants to buy a store mount. It will fix the game for everybody, right? And if everybody is happy with the product, what does that do? Increase sales. What happens when sales increase? A lot of shit happens. Maybe in the next game we get more microtransactions, maybe we get less. Maybe in this game they do an update where they release some free DLC. Maybe they charge for the DLC. A lot of stuff could happen, right? And if we don't like it, when they update the game or create a new game, what do? We critique them again, baby. Everything we say it again. And this time we vote with our wallets this time. We hope the reviewer FightinCowboy, we hope the people that get the game early, we hope the game is fixed. We hope it's better. We hope somebody that gets the game early talks about every issue that they see wrong with the game, and we go to another reviewer. They say what's wrong with the game. We go to another reviewer. They say what's wrong with the game. They release their videos. And then the public gets the game. And they bring up shit that none of the reviewers talked about. Is the public in the wrong? Because the guys that the 5-10 titans of YouTube got the game early and they didn't talk about any of this stuff. They're in the right automatically because they got the game early and they got it for free versus the thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of people that bought the game. Are those people wrong because you got it for free and you got it early? I don't think so, brother. I don't think so. I think everybody has the ability to critique any product, regardless if they're experienced in the gaming industry or whatever industry that they're critiquing the product on. None of that experience matters. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has an opinion. Some people can articulate their opinion better than others, and that's why other people will do something like hit the subscribe button. This person is talking for me because I don't have the ability to talk for myself, right? So whenever you're sitting here and disrespecting people that have an issue with a game because it's not the way that you have an issue with a game is utterly disrespectful. And honestly, it makes me want to call you some bad words, brother. And it makes me want to say it to your face. Because you're supposed to be the guy that people look up to. You're supposed to be the voice of the people. When really, you're just a normal guy sitting here making your own conversations about the video game. You're just another human being. You're nothing special. I'm nothing special. We're all in the same camp. There is no one camp, two camp, three camp. We're all in the same camp. You know what that camp is called? The consumer. Okay? Dragon's Dogma 2 is a product for who? Ha! Say it for me. Say it loud. Say it proud. The product is for the consumer. The customer is always what? Always what? The customer is always right. So they say. So they say. So if we are the consumer, we are the customer. If this person has an issue with the burger, this person has an issue with the French fries, this person has an issue with the drink, but you only have an issue with the chicken nuggets, it doesn't mean only change the chicken nuggets, buddy. That means change the whole fucking menu. That means update the menu. Put some new stuff in there. Use some new spices. Change it up. Come on, man. Come on, man. KhunShawn can't be the only one to see the hypocrisy around here. KhunShawn can't be the only one to sit here and say, man, maybe a lot of this shit's fucked up. Damn, maybe we should all look in the mirror and change something. Maybe it's not just us, the consumer or the customer. Maybe it's the people that are making the game. Maybe it's the developer. Maybe it's the guy that worked on the art. Maybe it's the guy that's giving the money to the publisher. But that guy's rich as fuck and he don't really give a damn. As long as money keeps coming in, he's not going to complain. But as a consumer, as a customer, it is in your right to complain. It is wholeheartedly your job to complain about the product, to critique it. Now, some people might falsely critique it. They might try and spin the narrative, right? And that's where we get somebody else to fact check them. Some people say, hey, the game's pay to win. Somebody else, no, it's not. Somebody else comes up, makes a video on why it is. Somebody makes a video why it's not. And then there's somebody to say, you know, maybe it's a little pay to win, and maybe if you're good at the game, maybe you can beat the people that are pay to win, right? There's a middle ground somewhere, and there's a middle ground everywhere. We got to find the middle ground, guys.
If you have a winning argument, you shouldn't need to lie to prove it. I completely agree with you. I think you're totally right. And I think that the people that are making up fan fiction about how the microtransactions are bad are actually doing a disservice to everybody. And I think also the people that are harassing and acting like babies in the other people's chats for like watching or for playing the game, etc. Like I've had a lot of people come into my chat and say this to me. I think that they're also hurting the cause of people being against it collectively because they present themselves as being unsympathetic and hostile and annoying. And no.
Yeah, man. Nobody likes a crybaby, man. That's why I say instead of complain, you got to critique it.
Nobody wants to be around somebody who's unsympathetic, hostile, and annoying. So I totally agree. I think it's a huge problem too. And it's like you can't have an honest conversation with a person who's trying to misrepresent what's happening in order to make their own point of view sound more serious or be more.
Yes. Some people think that their issue is so little that they need to somehow make it bigger unorganically. Bro, if the issue is an issue, whether it's, hey, you don't like the animations of running upstairs versus the frame rate isn't running at 60 on my 4090. You know, a complaint is a complaint, bro. Just put it in the fucking complaint box and hopefully they fix it. But if you critique it, which means you have to make a video or send it in an email or do something else outside of just sitting and playing with your friend going, man, I wish they would fix this about the game. Yeah, bro, me too. And then that's it. How the fuck are the developers supposed to know that they need to fix it if you don't go talk about it? That doesn't mean you go into somebody's stream and it's like, yeah, man, I don't like they did this because that makes this hard and then this hard and this hard, and you're bad if you play the game and you support it. That helps literally nobody. You just make yourself look like a jackass.
Relevant. I completely agree with you, and I think you're right about the monetization and the way that like people are just completely misrepresenting it. And I think also, like, I mean, even for me, right, up until this month, I had never played Dragon's Dogma 1. I played through the game, rolled the credits, and so I understand how, you know, fairy stones and port crystals work now. But if I hadn't played the game, I probably would have misunderstood that too. Exactly. And I think that's what happened with a lot of people. So you probably have a combination of misunderstanding
and people that don't know.
Misinterpretation.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. We're literally dealing with a game that has thousands of people playing it. Not everybody that bought the second game played the first one, and if you think so, that's a fallacy.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, this happened. Like you've played like a lot of Capcom games. I'm pretty sure. Did this happen on the release of Devil May Cry 5 and Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter. I don't remember. I want to say Monster Hunter at launch already had the inclusion of your character creation tickets, and there wasn't any of those in game. If you wanted to change your character look, it was a $199 fee.
Really? So you and that was like
$199.
I mean, I have to like
sure.
pull logs for
that's crazy.
I mean, I know. I don't know.
Well, what did people think about that back then?
I liked a little bit about Cry, but nothing like this. Like the proportion, the response.
Because a lot of people just said ignore it. Probably that's probably what the solution was back in the day. Just ignore it.
This time, definitely seems significantly higher.
Oh yeah, because nobody's ignoring it anymore. Maybe that's the issue.
I think the thing is, this is like the least egregious of what we've seen from Capcom. You know, like Devil May Cry, you can buy red orbs, which same as buying RC.
That's fucking crazy. You can just buy red orbs in Devil May Cry. For people who don't know, red orbs is how you upgrade your weapons and your skills.
It's stupid. You can go to Blade Palace and farm.
So you could. It's basically like. I mean, it technically is pay to win, right? Because if you upgrade ahead of the game expecting you to have upgrades, then you're going to crush whatever the developers put in front of you because they weren't expecting you to be stronger than what you are because you're not playing on New Game Plus. Then yeah, it is pay to win. Or pay to beat the game faster.
Rise, I think, got significantly worse than World because we started seeing actual content that was not in the game that you could only get if you had engaged with the micros in Rise.
Terrible.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's
terrible. I think that really with Dragon's Dogma 2, the reason why is because it just received such a tremendous amount of like hype. And so whenever the game comes out, if there's anything wrong with it, people are going to complain. I remember like whenever Elden Ring came out, even like people were complaining about slowdowns and like, you know, frame rate issues and performance issues with Elden Ring. Like I had that myself.
No, and this is probably going to be, you know, that last.
Does that mean that it's invalid because it was very popular and very hyped up? Is that an issue, right? Because hype isn't just one person say, "Oh, this is ready." Hype is a feedback loop. A hype train. It doesn't just happen and continue with just one person. And if it does, that person's spending a fortune. That stuff requires a communicative effort.
I mentioned last week it was Helldivers. Before that it was Palworld. And another week and a half. This is
Helldivers 2. Does it still have that key logger that tracks every single key that you type on your keyboard? Y'all let me know if they took that out the game or they still have it and all these people have having all their shit saved.
Nobody's gonna fucking remember this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be new controversy because Stellar Blade is gonna have a DLC to get extra booty with your character, and that's gonna be the thing everyone's upset about.
Yeah,
I'll remember.
And yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of that stuff, and I think really that's just what's. I mean, like, there's no way that consumers can really protest this, and this is what I think is kind of sad, is that like if you talk about it or I talk about it, it doesn't really matter because we're only reaching like our audiences, and like there's this massive like silent majority of people that are just buying a game because they think it's a cool game and that's it. And I think that's really kind of what's disappointing about the whole microtransaction thing, is because so many people want to push back against this, but there's no real way to effectively do that because the people that you need to reach in order to do that pushback are, by the nature of what they are, casual gamers.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think let's think about let's look at some numbers, right? Let's pull up some numbers. I'm just gonna type in Dragon's Dogma 2 review. Dragon's Dogma 2 review. All right, let's just go ahead and pull this up. 425,000 people, 88,000 people, 55,000 people, 1.3 million people, 102,000 people, 400,000 people, right? Where's IGN? 400,000 people, right? And IGN is what a lot of people, whenever before a game comes out and they type in review, IGN is the first one because they always get the games first, right? So let me see. What did IGN say about Dragon's Dogma 2? They gave it an 8. They say it's great. Do you guys agree with this? Yes or no? Do you think it's an 8, 9, 10, 6, 5, 4, right? Let's see what the comments say. And come in comments saying it should have been a higher score, even though no one has played the game yet. The donkey video aged like fine wine. This is it, the comment section, right? This is how we engage, right? Because even casuals look up a review before they buy something because the game is $70. Not many people that are casual gamers, I think, are just buying games. I think they're looking at reviews as well and review scores specifically scores. They'll probably type this in, look at some of it, skip around, look at the gameplay, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, 8 out of 10, I'm gonna buy it, right? 8 out of 10. Even if this person was talking about frame rate, even if they talk about microtransactions, even if they talked about one save slot, even if they talked about glitches, they still gave it an 8 out of 10. And that's what majority of people care about. I know this because I reviewed games as well. And a lot of people, they really went off of the review score. They listened to what I had to say. They enjoyed the feedback. But at the end of the day, it was the score. At the end of the day, it was the score that really mattered. Okay? So I'm letting you know this as someone that's been in the shoes of a reviewer, and I still do reviews to this day sometimes. But yeah, that is it. The score is what matters at the end of the day.
Is the people that you need to reach in order to do that.
So would you say people should be more honest with their review scores? Because a lot of people aren't. I said that in the beginning of this video. A lot of people skew the score a little bit higher than it should be.
Pushback are, by the nature of what they are, casual gamers, not reachable because they're not consuming content like ours on third-party platforms. It's disappointing. Yeah. It sucks. But yeah, no, I think with Dragon's Dogma, it's disappointing that this stuff happened. I don't think that, by the way, I don't think that you are like a bad person, or I don't think you did anything wrong.
No, I never took this to be a personal thing.
I know, I get that. I just wanted to make it clear, especially because people will be watching it, and there's an audience, and so I want to make it clear, primarily actually for them, that nobody did anything wrong for not talking about microtransactions because not everybody cares about them. So that's it. And
I don't think that's necessarily true because not everybody cares about frame rate, right? So for him to talk about frame rate, is that a thing, right? So I think I don't think that's necessary. I wouldn't say he did something wrong by not talking about it, but he didn't do something right by not talking about it either. It's one of those net negatives, right? It's like, sure, does it matter to everybody? No, but it matters to some people. And for you to review something, right, you should probably talk about it at least a little bit, right? So that's why I say it's a net negative, because if he didn't talk about it at all in the review, then he didn't talk about part of the game. And if you get the game early and you got it for free, you should 100% be talking about like majority of the features in the game. Now, I'm not saying you should talk about every single thing, like, oh, you can combine your talisman with your weapon, and if you wait and you can upgrade it later and it'll be like 10 times better versus selling it, right? Like, no, you shouldn't have to go through all that, but you at least should, touch upon, especially now microtransactions are in every game. I feel like this should be something that should be added into reviews. We should talk about microtransactions in reviews. Why not? That should go into the score, right? Because how is it fair for this game, you don't talk about microtransactions, but whenever another game comes out and their microtransactions are even more egregious, because they will be, in the future, there will be a game with more egregious microtransactions that impact the game way more than Dragon's Dogma 2 does. Why is it okay to talk about this one, but it's not okay to talk about Dragon's Dogma 2 when they're both video games? Is it because this one is less impactful? It's not even less impactful, right? Having the ability to save multiple characters does in fact affect everybody. It doesn't affect you specifically until, right? So you play the game with your rogue, right? Your dagger guy, right? And you have fun, you beat the game. Now, what happens when you want to do it again? You delete your character. So you can play as the same character again, or a mage, or something else. You don't have the ability to experiment. And maybe you can switch your classes in the game. I'm not too sure. Maybe you can. But that doesn't change the fact every game in the past let you have multiple characters. Why doesn't this one do it? Why not? If anybody wants to comment and a shield for the game, go for it.
Especially if you look at them like contextually with like how much value they have in the game, I really just don't think that it's that meaningful or that important. But it is disappointing that Capcom added it in, and I think that really it just makes the game worse, and it's like an unnecessary L, in my opinion. It's like, how many people are really going to buy this? You already have a $70 game. Like, is it really worth like this negative feedback? I think that they probably just don't care at all.
Unnecessary L.
That's pretty much what I
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, it's yeah. But like this is it's probably a suit that said we need to add these into the game.
Yeah,
because Itsuno is traditionally not really a fan of micros, and it's just exacerbated because he had the interview
about fast travel. That really put him in a bad spot.
It's boring.
Yeah.
So
I feel bad for him, right? I mean, that sucks because like I bet it probably was not his decision to put port crystals in the store, and like now that he said that, it's like a decision that he didn't make is being held against him. It sucks. I think it does.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things where if you say something and somebody hears it, they think maybe that's a good idea and they do it. And if it fucks other people over, well, you said it out loud, brother. We all have the ability to change things. It's not just him. It's not just Asmon. It's not just Cowboy. It's not just me. It's you as well. We all have the ability to say, maybe this person should do this. And if someone overhears it and they have the ability to change such a thing, and this guy thought it was a good idea. All right, fuck it, let's do it. And if it turns out it wasn't a good idea, well, hey, there's always somebody else to blame. So yeah, we definitely should be careful with what we say, especially when it comes to money, the gaming industry, and what they should and should not do. Like earlier, I talked about what would happen if they had advertisements in the game. Me saying that might be Pandora's box, because some developer might watch this video and say, they didn't like 99-cent fast travel. Sure, might as well put an advertisement for a cosmetic here or there every time they go into a city. Why not? Why not indeed? Until people see it and then they have their own opinions on why that shouldn't be a thing, which would be criticism, right? Criticize the game. If anything, I think we just need more transparency. Let's keep it 100. I think we just need more transparency. We need to give more review copies out to people that might actually talk about how bad the game is, because there is a blacklist of reviewers. If you don't talk good about the game, you don't get the next game, right? Mr. Waffle Waffles, Jesus, right? Call of Duty guy talked about zombies and he talked about how good it was, and he would be invited to conversations with Treyarch about zombies. Then he started becoming more negative. They stopped calling him. If anything, if he's being negative, that shows he cares and he wants it to be better. We should have him on the call. about what we should do about Call of Duty Zombies, because Call of Duty Zombies sucks now. Let's keep it 100, right? Everything's gonna suck if you keep inviting people that are gonna say it's good, right? Have you guys ever seen that show? It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. It's called Kitchen Nightmares, right? They go into the store. The restaurant owners talk about, we've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years. Why should we have to change it? Gordon Ramsay comes in and says, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. It's out of date. And then the person breaks down and cries. And then it's like, okay, you're going to cry about it, but your business is going to fail if you don't change anything. So are you going to let your business fail, or are you going to man up and change it? And then Gordon Ramsay goes in and he changes it. And then it's up to them whether they succeed or fail. Some succeed, some fail after he leaves and the camera leaves. Because at the end of the day, the camera and Gordon Ramsay can only do so much for you. Somebody can only do so much for you. It's up to you, the developer. It's up to you, the publisher. It's up to you, the customer. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us to make things better in general. But we can just complain and ignore it and say, fuck it, who cares? And then expect it not to get better. Right, and I expect to have the same video and the same conversation a couple months or a couple years from now when more shit comes out. And I'll be here to talk about it because I ain't got nothing else to do. Might as well talk about stuff.
Yeah. This sounds like we're basically on the same
side, man.
We are.
Yeah, we're all on the same side of we should make the product better. How we make the product better, we're still on the same side on how we make it better. But for some reason, y'all turn it into they're in this camp, I'm in that camp. And it's like, bro, we all want the game to be better. Why the fuck are there multiple camps? Just have a conversation. I think that's the issue. Nobody's having conversations. Whether they come into the chat, there's a power dynamic. You sitting here in the chat is not equivalent to these two people talking. These two people talking isn't equivalent to me talking about these two people talking, and the chat is there. I've acknowledged the chat because these people know easy fast travel. This person said it. Want a good game without MTX, BG3, whatever the fuck that means, right? Corporate meddling that the dev takes the fall for. That's what this person said, right? We all have conversation. We all have things to say about the topic. But for some reason, we're only looking at these two people. And if you're watching this video, you're watching me as well. So appreciate it. Hit the like if you enjoyed. If you're still here in this long ass video, what is it? I've been sitting here for an hour. Man, that's a long ass time to talk about some shit that I don't even play.
Check that recent video you did, or do a new one. I just don't want other people catching heat because the whole.
What? He said make a new one?
Recent video you did, or do a new one. I just don't want other.
Do a new one? No.
People catching heat because the whole.
No. That's called hiding. Why would you? No. Sure, maybe make an update. Why make an update video? Y'all already talked about it.
The all reviewers knew about it. I don't want other I admit it. I knew about it.
Bro, just pin it in the comments. Not everybody knew.
I've made my bed. I'm gonna lay in it. I just don't want other people catching fucking strays because of something I said.
Brother, that's something you're gonna have to take to the grave. You said something that affected other people. Congratulations. You live in a world where people listen to other people, and people will take apart whatever people say and misconstrue it into their own thing. But that's why you have your own video, right? Even if Asmongold has a video that his editor clipped together that made it seem like you said something that maybe you didn't or didn't say it or whatever in context, you still have your video. So if you said it in your video, brother, then why do other people have to change their video because of something that you said? Because you don't like it, that's when you address it. This is what I meant to say, and this is what you're doing in this video. But you should also do it again. Make another video on your own, not just with Asmongold. Talking about this is what I meant to say, blase, blase, and then the comments are going to chew you apart. And then what do? You move on from them. You keep going forward. People don't agree with what you said. People are not going to agree with what you say. You're not going to change their mind.
Oh, I totally understand that. And I think that if we misrepresented that in any way, I'll have to look at it and see for myself. And again, I don't really run the channel. I don't really make any decisions for it at all, honestly. So if that happened, it's still my responsibility. I'll look into it and I'll figure it out. Because
so now that he said that, we all know it's up to the editor did it. So whoever the editor is, maybe we should be looking at that person. Maybe, I don't know, because everybody, it's not like, bro, Asmongold's channel makes a lot of money, okay? And I'm pretty sure the guy behind the editing, maybe he gets bored. Maybe he wants to put an LOL in there. Maybe he wants to do something. I don't know. I really don't know. But at the end of the day, people make mistakes too. So maybe the editor fucked up and did something that made you look worse than what you really are. Maybe. But Asmon, you definitely need to be watching your own videos. I mean, it's going on your channel. Like, come on, man.
I think that you're right.
What?
All right.
But
well,
anyway,
I'll
man.
let you get back to the game then.
Yep. You too,
Editor
man. I'll see you
catches.
later.
Yeah, you get back to the game. Yeah, go have fun.
Nice guy. There it is. Yeah, that's a fighting cowboy. Hey, he's a nice guy. Great talk. Yeah, I mean, sure. It's not a big deal for me. Hell yeah, W Convo. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Like, as I said, I don't have anything against the dude. I mean, it's just a guy who's talking about it. Everything's fine. So the editors already know. Well, they'll figure it out. On any of the conversations.
They'll figure it out.
Asmon
does not give no fucks.
Any implication, microtransaction, tonal misrepresentations, the intertwines of fate more than McConnell. Is that right? Watch the video. I'll have to look and see.
I haven't seen McConnell's. McConnell's still around.
One, so that's why I'll have to go through it. Got you talked it out? Yeah, no, I don't. Look, like, I don't take things personally anymore, right? I mean, I really try my best to just not take things personally.
Good.
In any capacity.
Good.
Microtransactions is the game you're actively supporting is pretty hypocritical, don't you think? Yeah, it is, but I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, it is.
That's just what it is.
Yeah, that's human nature. Yeah, we do things that are in our best interest. And if you want it to change, it's going to take everybody to change it. But if Asmongold doesn't want to change it, he's not going to change it. Then it's up to you. Whoever left that comment, it's up to you to do it. Like, you're not going to do it.
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, fuck, I don't know. What do you want me to say? That's just a dumb chatter. Yeah, there's editors protected. No, my editors are great. I mean, and like my editors don't know all the details either. So like sometimes if I say something or I interpret something in a certain way, then like, yeah, obviously it's I don't want to blame my editors. Like, it's my channel, right? It's a channel about me. So like if my editors do something, it's still something that I'm like passively endorsing. So don't get mad at them. It's still my responsibility. My editors do a great job. Like they honestly, I think that the clips are fucking like the clips are popping the fuck off. Like we're getting a lot of views on like the it's not even shorts, it's just clips. Are you endorsing microtransactions in a single player game just by playing the game? Well, I think that you would be because you're drawing attention to the game, and by drawing attention to the game, you're indirectly drawing attention to microtransactions.
Yeah.
That's it.
We've already said that. Bro, we've said that several times in the video. This was an interesting conversation. I enjoyed it. I had fun. And if I had fun, then you have fun. It's your boy, Miss. Comment, rate, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, I'm not. My name's not Mist anymore. It's your boy, KhunShawn. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.